What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'd like to talk a little bit about pendulums and the concept of pendulums, where that comes from, what that looks like in reality, and how you can avoid feeding your energy to pendulums. And so when it comes to pendulums, Brian Scott has a excellent amount of deep dives into that topic. It's a reality transurfing topic. I brought it up in actually the last video. It actually deserves a bit of a deep dive because it's very, very applicable to navigating reality, to be aware of these kinds of consciousness traps and groupthinks that can just start sucking energy, becoming almost like an egregore or like an entity. Corporations can get like that. YouTube channels can get like that. Politics can definitely get like that. But he goes into a lot of detail. If you really want to get into a broad brush of what transurfing is defining as a pendulum, what that looks like, I'm just going to kind of put my own take on it, just from experience, because we all have experience with pendulums, and actually being aware of how they siphon and suck energy is really important. It's actually step one in spiritual practice, is besides just being present and aware of your thoughts, but also to be mindful and attentive to your own life force energy, almost like it's more valuable than money, because spiritually and metaphysically, if you're not paying attention to that, you'll be getting drained by these either activities that you're doing, just situations, psychic groups, all these types of things, television, media, YouTube, anything where you feel like a drain of energy is a big red flag that you have like stumbled into what Vadim Zeland would describe as a pendulum. And check out Brian Scott's, just type in his videos, pendulums, and there's like a handful of videos, excellent deep dive into those things. But from my own kind of experience when it comes to like energy vampires, this kind of vampiric beast system that can kind of emerge, it's really important to realize that there is no fiction, in the sense that, you could be sharing a room with somebody who could be like in New World Order, Illuminati, just like chemtrails, all this shit, just in that kind of satanic Truman Show. Meanwhile, you could have somebody else in that same exact room that's like focused on like children and like what's going on with their neighbors, like fence, and just totally oblivious to that entire mental story and narrative. And a lot of like the truth community gets played over and over by pendulums, because pendulums don't care if you attack it. That's one of the things about a pendulum. The main kind of red flag is it sucks energy. It grows, and it tries to increase its power by the amount of energy that it can suck from the people participating in that groupthink, or like a corporation, like a business, just like a culture. All of those, even I believe that the mass formation psychosis is another flavor and another way to look at a pendulum being a politically motivated one. And you can see how, like with like a polarizing figure, you have people on this side of the pendulum that just love and adore, like Trump is an excellent example, because he just infuriates some people so fervently. But he's like got people that just love him on this extreme, but then the other side of the pendulum is like, I fucking can't stand this and just feeding all this energy. So giving the energy of love or giving the energy of hate, there's only one energy, people. That's a core thing to realize. There's only source energy, and it's just, are you using it as a blessing, in the form of like impressing the subconscious mind, the field of awareness with what you desire, blessings, love, ultimately, or are you planting into the field of awareness curses, and then draining your own energy as you like battle and resist this they and this evil, this separate force or whatever. It tricks you into then giving your energy away. And so it's really important, as you start to progress throughout your day, is to keep track of your energy. And if there's acute people that it's like, oh, that was kind of draining, oh, that was kind of just whatever, that's one thing. But pay attention to the habitual chronic energy vampire situations, people, whatever, because you might be falling prey into a pendulum. And if you're not aware of how if you battle it, you actually strengthen it. You give that energy to it, and that's all it wants. It's again, it's part of like that non-selective, almost like electricity doesn't care. I like literally, I just put in a new socket or a new outlet in my kitchen, and I shocked myself. It's like, again, and it was like I've been shocked so many times at this point by just like, wall outlets, light fixtures, and whatever. I'm not even stressing it or whatever. It's almost just like, oh, I just electrocuted myself. Well, technically electrocuted, just like when you die. Shocked, even if it's like struck by lightning, is supposedly the politically correct, you got shocked. But, whatever. It's non-selective. It just does what it does. In the same way, a pendulum doesn't care if you hate it or love it. It just wants your energy, and it doesn't want you to remove your attention from it. So the answer to every single pendulum, every type of energy draining thing, is always the same process. You remove your attention, and you don't feed it. You starve the pendulum. And so, and by doing that, it's not, I need to make a big deal about it. I need to, it's a big deal. It's a pedestal that I'm like avoiding the news because that's like, I don't, then you're putting it on a pedestal, and cyclically, it's all running cyclically. It's the 5D or whatever. It's in thought world, which then impresses into the field of awareness, which then externalizes onto the screen of space and influences your perception of reality. And also then you get synchronicities and all of these like coincidences and stuff that just like become so magical but normal. It's like it's normal to see like 11:11 every single day. It's like multiple times. It's like, oh, I happen to just be getting lunch, and oh, it's 11:11. Oh, I'm actually on Brian Scott's YouTube page, and his thing is like 11:11 on it. So it's like, but then you get these situations too where it's like, as you kind of imagine for others in a more blessed mentality of like wishing them well, say you see them like falling into like a fucking just a shit show state of consciousness, and in your own mind you overlook that's how they're missing the mark. That's a good way to kind of look at like sinful behavior. I look at like a lot of sin as just being fear in the ideas of separation and whatnot. But the New Testament says pretty clearly anything not of faith is sin. And so if you don't believe that God gives it to you, or that you're not doing it in a co-creative thing with your Creator, and you're like causing separation, it's like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, or it's like those judgments and everything. You already know what's right and wrong within your own self or whatever. I'm not talking about some legalistic moral shit. It's just it's your own kind of like whatever, your inner guidance system, intuition, whatever. And so when it comes to like looking at how to like navigate these pendulums, though, kind of lost my train of thought, but it's like you start becoming so engrossed in all these magical things and everything else that you aren't just being drained all the time of with all these like, well, did you hear did you hear that the banking system is collapsing, Mike? Didn't you know that? It's like, I knew that. It's all based on faith. It's been based on faith the whole time. The only reason there's any type of drama is because now all of a sudden it's on a screen somewhere. But it's always a crapshoot. You put your money in there. It's like metaphysically there's a benefit in the sense that you're lending without expecting anything in return, because it's basically they take your money, move it out the back door just as fast. But then in that spiritual practice of giving. You kind of flex your abundance, and what you invest with others, it comes back to you multiplied in all these different ways. But when it comes to any type of situation where you're just getting this energy drain, followed by maybe like a mental narrative of some limiting belief, some assumption about reality that's just some assumption that's just not even serving in any type of meaningful way. It's draining your energy. Well, it's a good time to put the brakes on, get mindful and present. Ask yourself, am I falling for a pendulum? Am I getting my life force drained by a person, place, event? you have to check that within your own self. But the remedy is always the same. And I believe that everything in creation is either like a curse or a blessing. But it's depending on how you use it. Like you could use electricity, for example, to electrocute someone to death, or you can power your lights with it. It's like this, being a form of pendulum, but my intent is not to suck energy or whatever, or to create something that sucks energy, but to give energy. So it's like the opposite of a typical pendulum that is sucking all the life force and everything from the participants and the people that are spending their mental energy involved in it. It's more about like using it as a way to focus attention in the bigger consciousness in a direction that's another option. So instead of like falling victim to a bunch of pendulums, fear, hysteria, groupthink, this kind of mass formation or whatever. You can't just be sitting there going, well, that's the bad man. That's the bad man. That's the bad man, without giving any type of like, well, okay, so what do you do instead besides sit there and bring it to light? You bring a fucked up pendulum to light with the participants that are just kind of going along like an automaton. Well, you bring that situation to light, and then yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought again. I get this phone call. I kind of actually got to deal with that. And so appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing. I'm probably going to have to bounce here. Kind of a short one. But I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, all the social networking things. Appreciate your spiritual support and your physical support. Thank you for that. And support link in the description. I do appreciate, all the kind words and everything, the messaging that goes along with that. Super heartfelt. I appreciate it. Probably do a bigger deep dive tomorrow, or whenever, the next now, on pendulums, because I think it's an important topic to not be so naive to the fact that there's things and cultural, psychic, whatever, that suck energy. And, but again, the remedy is always the same. You remove your attention from it and you don't feed it. On the other hand, you still have, we're all doing this, we're all kind of throwing ideas to each other and participating in this energy game on some level. And so might as well use it as an opportunity to amplify a love energy. It's only one energy, one life force energy, either being used. If I fucking hate it, I can't stand it, that strengthens it, and it's exactly what it wants. And that's where the truth community gets played every fucking time, that there's a pendulum and some thing going on that's sucking energy and just like self-destructing and everything else. Well, let's battle it and resist it, and fuck them, and let's get them, and let's get the pitchforks, and let's I need the beast system to confirm that it's the bad guy, apologize, and then we can have the new beast system in. It's like, it's people wanting one pendulum after the next, and it's like you just break out of that whole cycle, and like there's a different flow when you're more in a love frequency versus a fear reactivity and scarcity. That's part of like the destructive nature of the pendulum, but like I gotta go, but I will definitely kind of just have the next couple of these mental diets on that kind of tangent, because I think it's important. I think it's kind of an interesting thing to think about, especially when you start to consciously create pendulums that are more of a blessing, if that's even possible. I don't even, it might always be a corrupting thing as far as I know. I'm not, it's an experimental, as far, I don't know, fuck it, it's just going for it. But, with that being said, I think I'm about. So, thanks again for liking, sharing, subscribing, everybody. And until the next now, God bless.